Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wendling Farms YouTube channel. Before we get started, smash that subscribe. With that being said, let's get this video started. Exciting stuff today, folks. We're gonna be planting corn and beans. This seed tender here is full of beans, so I'm getting it hooked up to this truck. Dad's at the chem shed right now, getting a hot load so we can start spraying around the farm. This will be the first field of corn that gets planted, and we got to spray our pre-herbicide mixture before we work the ground. Sprayer's got to stay ahead of the field cultivator. There's Dad coming down the road right now. Perfect. So yeah, we're gonna start spraying this morning, start working this ground around the farm. Dad can start planting corn. I can take off in the bean planter, get that thing rolling later. Exciting stuff today. Okay, so I need to get my iPad set up. Got to get what we're spraying plugged into the iPad, get the rate and everything set on the monitor. I need to move this so I can get loaded up. So for starters, 20 gallons the acre. Okay, that's fine. Let's reset our tank counter. Now we go on the iPad here. Make sure our drive is connected. Okay, select field. Now we add application 2025 corn pre. Would you change that ringtone?
Like that?
Yeah. Couple downsides to spraying 20 gallon an acre. One is you got to fill more often, and two, you can't travel as fast spraying because boom pressure reasons. If your boom pressure gets too high, if you're moving too fast, and you're spraying at a heavier rate, part of it has to do with nozzles as well. I'm not saying I want to spray at 30 mile an hour. I'd rather spray at 17 to 20 mile an hour than 12 to 15. Maybe that's just me though. Slow and steady wins the race though, right? I was out here yesterday scratching around with the field cultivator, working out some thick patches of henbit. There's just little patchy globs of it out here. We're done with the long rows here, done with the north-south rows. Let's raise this baby up. Let's crank it up to Top Gun speed here and go 25 mile an hour to the short rows. We're clear for takeoff. When I was out here spraying, I spotted a tile hole, and when we installed this 4-inch tile, we busted through some 6-inch, and the 6-inch tile is actually the first little bit of tile we installed, and we hooked it up to our gutters whenever we built that shop. So since then, we've actually disconnected this tile, hooked in that gutter tile to the 8-inch main that was installed last summer. So I'm gonna cap the downstream side here, fill this hole in and be done with it. So we've got this 6-inch side capped. That's the upstream side, so that ain't gonna be a problem. Can't really see, but right here what I got my finger on. That's the 4-inch tile that we installed that busted through this 6. So we've got this capped here. Let's backfill the hole. Once I get all my tools picked up, then we'll backfill the hole. How about that? Alrighty, time to work some ground. Note to self, make sure you pull the field cultivator all the way in the field before you go to unfold it. Why, might you ask? Well, let me show you. This is what happens. That's a heck of a divot. Sorry, Grandpa. The rolling baskets did this to the sod. Holy smokes, look at that. Stay put. Nope. So what happened was I pulled into the field just like I did here. But my rolling baskets were still out here on the sod. And whenever it unfolded, since it was out of sequence, the baskets pushed the sod up like it did to the dirt here. So yeah, a little rolling basket damage there. Oh well, it'll regrow. It'll be all right. Anyway, I'm gonna set you down. I'm gonna start working some ground. Too good. I'd like to trim that out more. I need to do a little swing around. So we got this stem pipe here and I'm just wanting to get trimmed up. I want to get close, but I don't want to hit it. And looks like we got close and we didn't hit it. You got to watch on these field cultivators because you can see your outside shovel there, but the rolling basket and the harrow stick out just a little bit farther than that, so you got to be careful. There we go, that looks nice.
Graphite going in this first.
Man, we sure could use a breeze out here today. My goodness. Let's get unfolded. First unfold of the season. Vacuum control on, bulk fill on. Here we go. Prime control. So priming the planter gets all the units primed where they're set and ready to roll with seed. All the meters are loaded. Let's rock and roll.
Right there's one. You're about
okay, there's one right there.
You're 1.5 inches.
You're well into moisture. I think you could raise it a hole.
You got to lay this across where your trench is, and then I take something.
You can measure.
Yeah, you can do that. About 1.5 inches.
Yeah, 1.5 inches.
So we would need to be about 1 inch, I would say.
Take it out of the ground about 1/2 inch.
Well, yeah, let's just turn it one.
This closing system looks like it's doing a really good job.
It does.
Oh yeah, you won't see any slits.
It's getting the seed trench closed up good.
Even here, this is a track. Yeah. And that would never close before.
So this is our depth control here. We're going to take it out of the ground one full turn. So I believe, which way are we turning it? Okay, one full turn. don't go in there very well.
You want him to, because those will turn on you.
See that? We're doing it. We're farming. Wow. Plant in the dust, the bins will bust. So if you're new here, we installed a new closing system on this planter, and man, am I impressed with it. It sure is doing a good job. Wow. Beforehand, we were having problems, depending on conditions, closing the seed trench, and usually we'd have our most problems when we would work the ground and it would get rained on and it would kind of crust over. This planter would have a heck of a time trying to close up that seed trench. And with this new closing system, it's doing a great job, and that seed trench is getting closed up perfect. Wish we would have put it on a long time ago. Starting in, just making sure everything's in good shape, watch my monitor, looking at my seed rate. I was having an issue with the iPad starting in. It didn't map half of that first through. Don't know why, but yeah. Got the iPad straightened out, monitor's in good shape. We're coming up to the end, so I gotta set you down. I've been playing for a little bit. I've got the whole field trimmed out, and I've been going back and forth. I'm wanting to GoPro died on me middle of conversation. Still having problems trying to figure out this iPad. We got new drives from Climate, and for some reason it's showing skips and it's overlapping a ton. I don't know what's wrong with that. I can't get a hold of them either. I'm waiting in line on their customer support, trying to get a hold of somebody. I want to check my overlap control coming into the headland and going out. This pass here is going out of the headland. So this right here, this is the last row that's on the end row. Let's see what our overlap controls look like. Okay, so there's a seed there. There's 3 seeds here. So we've got a little bit of overlap here. We're not leaving any. I don't mind a little overlap, I just don't want to have any gaps. So my headland control, my overlap control, that stuff's great. I was out there checking it, and I got a phone call from Climate. Been on the phone with him for a while. This iPad is all screwed up. I don't know what's going on. Starting in, this is what it looked like. So it looked okay. Row number 13 has been going ballistic. I think I got a sensor that's going bad. I just cleaned it off, and I've checked it to see if it's planting when it gives me an alarm, and it is planting. So we got a seed sensor on 13 that needs replaced. This is what our iPad was looking like earlier. I was leaving skips, and it was overlapping half the planter, going one direction. Now this is what it looks like. I don't know what's going on. It's a headache, and I'm getting a call right now. Hello. Been trying to work on row number 13 because that seed sensor screwed up. It shows I'm not planting anything in that row, but I go back there and look, and it's planting. So need a new seed sensor on 13. Don't have one. Gonna have to go to town to get one. Can I have parts, please? So I think what needs to happen on the iPad situation is the Pro 700 monitor needs a software update. We'll update that whenever we can. I can't do it myself. I gotta have our dealer update it for me, so hopefully that gets done tomorrow. The seed tube issue, Grandpa's on his way to grab me a new sensor, and I'm seeing some wire exposure here. Right there on that seed tube sensor. So probably the reason why this thing's not working correctly. Real simple fix. Zip tie on a new seed tube sensor, run the harness up the row unit onto the frame, zip tie everything, put the row unit back on, you're ready to rock and roll. So pretty simple fix. I'm just waiting on the part. Yeah, we'll hopefully get that Pro 700 monitor updated tomorrow, and then we'll be in good shape. There's our seed depth there. Looks about like an inch. How's that for a farmer's measure? Yeah, this ground here was worked back in March. early March, I think the 12th of March. We do have some winter annuals popping up, so we'll put some Roundup and 2,4-D or something in our preload, and that'll take care of those weeds that are popping up through this already worked ground. It's planting nice, planting really nice. So yeah, I'm just out walking around, looking at everything. I checked my my headland shutoffs again, and it's looking good coming in, looking good going out. So we got our new seed tube sensor on there, just a couple of zip ties that holds that on. 3 more sensors going in the toolbox. Won't have to wait on another sensor if one of them goes bad. All right, let's roll. Took care of the problem. This was the first pass of the year with the corn planter. Started off this morning running a sprayer, then I worked some ground, and now I'm planting. I call that the trifecta. I've got another seed tube sensor that's acting up here. It's pegged to the top right now, saying it's overpopulating. It goes from max population all the way down to nothing, back and forth, back and forth. Row number 24. There's a little plastic piece that covers up the wires on one side, and it was gone on the row that I fixed earlier, 13. Maybe that's why there was a bunch of rubbish on the wires, and just rubbed them raw. Be interesting to see if I pull out 24 if it's the same way. We've run into the same problem here on row number 24. This plastic piece here is supposed to cover up these wires. And, well, it's not covering up the wires. Look what it's done to the wires. The wires are all chewed up. Yeah. Well, here's our new sensor. Just gets zip tied around the seed tube. Then I zip tie this wiring harness to the frame of the planter. And away we go. Good as new. Last pass here on this field. It only took all day to plant 80 acres. Well, that does it for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Don't forget to smash that subscribe, drop a comment down below, click the thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.